trying this piece out with me. So I hope you enjoy too. sing without flutes, but we have different sizes in the flute family. So for this next piece, Lisa will kindly lend me her bass flute. If you hold up yours, we also have an upright bass flute. Yeah? It almost feels like a really strong pipe in your hand. And then we have piccolo, which Chris played in the yep. And it plays one octave higher. Then we have regular flute, yay. We also have an alto flute. So we have a curved head joint on some alto and some prefer the straight. So this is the flute family, and that's what makes the flute choir. We have not yet invested in a contrabass flute. It exists. It looks like number 4. And yeah, you place them here. But the next piece is from the Brazilian genre of choro. While the word itself means lament, the music is a little upbeat, and it's to help you get over your daily struggles and sorrows while you hum along the tune. So here we go. bottle top. That's what we're doing. Fortunately, other wind and brass, all their intake goes into their instrument. So inefficient, but can be pretty. Hungarian dance is our next number. Seen the film this is from. So Henry Mancini wrote a lot of film music. One of the better known tunes is Pink Panther. It's that guy that wrote this. And I think I read somewhere that he believes he made this movie better known because of his music. Flutes heat up very quickly, and when they warm up, our intonation also tends to travel up. And then as soon as your pot cools down, our flutes, when it cools down, it goes down. So we have to keep the temperature regulated without either that, or we have to use our ears. And for flutes, it's one of the challenges in playing with flute. If you sit in front of a piano and you play that key, that's going to be in tune, assuming you've gotten your piano tuner in. But with flute, depending on how much air, speed of air, what angle you're blowing at, this angle as well as this angle all affect your tuning. So if you are hearing many flutes, that can be a good thing in the parts that you need to hear all the parts. But as flute players, we're constantly listening. The instrument doesn't unfortunately just play these in tune for us. So thank you for being here today, and here is Baby Elephant Walk. Thank you so much for being here. And I feel very privileged to lead this group of wonderful musicians. We include retired teachers, current teachers, retired directors of other flute ensembles, and many other walks of life. And I met Teresa and Chris, and that's how I ended up here. And yeah, we really have been together for one and a half. Yeah. And you know, as an adult, it's harder to motivate, for me anyway, yourself to practice sometimes, because life, you know, you gotta do life. But as a child, I had my mom, who's visiting from Australia. She would tell me to practice, and thank you, but I didn't thank that back then. So this is a very dedicated group of musicians. I can tell them to practice, but really, they're past that age. Sorry. So, you know, your time is more precious, right? As you get older, you take up more responsibilities, your priorities change. So we thank you for being here, for letting us share our music. And I think one of the beauties of music is that no matter where you go, it's a universal language. And we love that you are here. Beauty of live music is without an audience, feeling it and living it with us. It's not there, right? So thank you so much, and we will send you off with Mainely.